Welcome. Today we will be doing a 2026 Town Master Hellmode build for early and mid game. This is my current free-to-play account, Cloud Nacho, which journey you might have been following in my previous videos. I will link them in the description as well. Soon to be reaching 800,000 total waves done. So we will be using this account today to do a Town Master Hellmode build. And for this run, for this build, we will be following a written guide that is written by Arnos. You can find this guide linked in my Discord server for free for you to use. I will link my Discord server in the description box so you can join if you are not there yet. I would highly recommend checking out this written guide after watching this video. Arnos is easily one of the most knowledgeable players when it comes to Hellmode and extremely motivated Hellmode player. So reading this guide will probably help you getting started with Hellmode if you are new to this game. I'm gonna go through the items after the run, but I'm gonna show enough that I am currently running a Orb of Crisis on my Town Master, so this will be using the Orb of Crisis during the run, and I have a decent roll on this orb. It should be a little bit higher. I will need to work on this account and try to get closer to 100%. It's a tremendous damage boost, so try to get it to 90% or above if you can. Otherwise, the Town Masters are using crit chance line, damage line, attack speed runes, and crit damage, fire damage, attack speed runes. I would like it with more critical damage instead of the damage line. One critical chance line is good to have though, so you wanna get that if possible. The treasures we are using are like this. So we have the flame bow, because our Town Masters will be doing fire damage for this one, and we wanna use the flame bow, so they will be doing fire damage in Town Master Hellmode. Then we have the power claw, doing easily the best boost for your Town Masters and all units in general. The power claw is incredible damage boost. Sharp arrow to give us more critical chance, because with the flame bow we do not have 100% crit chance, unlike with the cursed knife, but we really want to use the flame bow in here instead of the cursed knife because of the resistances of the bonus points, which you will see soon. Then we have the frozen heart, so the frozen enemies will take more damage. This helps us to clear out especially the ground monsters, deal more damage to them. And then we have the black pearl, so that we can have a secondary leader who today will be Zero. The skill tree looks like this. The guide also has a skill tree example. It says you need to be over 120 something skill points to be able to use this, but you can start using it earlier as well. I have 111 points, for example, in here currently, and you can start using this build even earlier. When you want to start practicing, you can reach top 300 with this setup earlier than having over 100 skill points. But the most important thing in here, I'm starting from the ice tree because of the ice buffs in the ice tree are going to be important for us. So we get more damage to slowed monsters, for example, a lot of more damage throughout the run. More damage to frozen monsters also help us so much, and so on. And also the sword nodes are really important for every single tree, so get these. Our only damage dealer will be Town Archers, and in the tree branches these nodes are basically the only ones that actually boost their damage, so take those. So we go through the ice tree and we get the Town Archer node section in here so that we can use orbs and items on Town Master. So this is the starting point. You wanna have this. Then to make our run easier, we can do a shortcut. None of our elemental damage units are doing any damage for the run, so we can easily take the shortcuts in here for the Hellmode build. And we wanna take, well, the Slinger PS node in summon tree, so that our slingers will be able to deal more crowd control. And also the summon only one, so that we have the immortal summons, and even if they die, they will respawn. So they will be, well, practically alive the full time. The orcs will die at some point, but they will be alive the full time and applying crowd control as much as possible. This will make your life so much easier. Then we have, well, the poison tree in here. We have, of course, the sword node in here, and also these poisoned monsters defense decrease and damage decrease nodes in here. So the defense decrease is what you want eventually. If you don't have enough points to reach them, then take the other things first, but you do want those. The lightning tree, on the other hand, we have more damage to stun monsters. This is a really important thing to have because we are going to be applying a lot of stun to the enemies. So being able to do more damage to stun monsters is really important. If you have a lot of points, you can start from other paths and ice as well. You can start in lightning. I think the example skill tree in the written guide starts from the lightning path. It ultimately won't make a difference, but if you are short on points, start from the ice so you can reach the Town Master section earlier. Anyway, otherwise we have attack speeds in here so that our Dark Assassin will get a little bit more attack speed, and our Zeus as well, which we are using. Zeus is optional, we'll go through that in just a bit. Also more damage to flying monsters, really important thing. And also slash +1, and the Dark Assassin debuff is applied one more time. You really want these for your Dark Assassin as well. In the fire tree, the important things, well, the sword node again is important, and then we have the attack speed nodes in here, so that we can get more attack speed to our fire units, which in here are the mechanic ram, and also Goblin in here. Goblin also is, well, optional unit, you can use someone else, but if you do use Goblin, then you also want to have the Goblin nodes in here so that you can get increased radius for the explosion and more TNTs. So you want to have that. The damage nodes are not important because he won't be doing damage in this Town Archer Hellmode build. This is pure Town Archer build. Well, of course, the physical tree as well. Let's not forget that. The haste node is super important because we want to be able to have the haste buff up and running, well, 100% of the time if possible. And the further you go in Hell mode, the longer your cooldowns will become, because they will be gradually decreased the longer you survive. So you really want to have that, so you have that extra duration for the haste buff. And, well, of course, the sword node again. So this is what I'm currently having. Some changes might be depending if you use, for example, again, if you don't use Goblin, then you don't need the Goblin nodes. If you use Golem Master, then you want to have the Golem Master nodes in here and so on. But those are also explained in the guide, so please read it after watching this video. But let's start doing our Hell mode run. So seasonal Hell mode, and before we start we need to spend our points. So all the leveling in your Hell mode run is done through this window. Every unit starts at level 1, no matter what level they are actually on your account. So you all the leveling will be done through these points. And first of all, before we start, we will do 51 levels on your heroes. This is usually enough if you use pure Town Archer setup, then 51 points is enough to get the maximum buff, for example, from Dark Assassin. This will be enough for you. Since I am using Zeus, however, I will be using 101 point in here instead. That will be enough to get the maximum slow effect from Zeus. Now, if you don't use Zeus, then 51 should be enough for you. And then we are going to be doing a trick to activate our Orb of Crisis in the beginning of the run. So we will start by level 12, for example, for this. It's written in the guide, I think. 12 is the recommended starting point. And then once we start the run, we will be leveling our castle a little bit so that our Orb of Crisis will activate, because we will be having less than 50% of HP. And then the important things we want to do is the bonus points in here. For this run, for this account, I think I will start by using 4 and 2. Now, this will highly depend on how good your account is, how good items you have, how good you are playing the Hell mode. I haven't done terribly many runs on this account. I'm really unsure on certain situations how we can survive and whatnot. So we'll be trying this and see how it goes. If you can reach higher score than I do, then you can start with the 5 and 2, and eventually the goal will be having 5 and 5. In this case, we don't have enough points, so you would have to reduce the points from your heroes temporarily for the beginning and use 5 and 5. That's the ultimate goal, but you can't do that in the beginning. You won't be able to earn the points back before you die. So you need to start with a lower amount. If you can't reach the same score that I will be reaching, try a little bit lower amount in here. It really depends on your current skill level and your items and skill points and so on. Practice is super important, so try different setups and see what works. But this is what we will be trying. Okay. The rest will be now spent on Town Archer, so this is Town Archer damage section in here. We will eventually be leveling our resistance on fire and also the crowd control resistance as well, but we will be doing this. But first, let's do this. I'm going to be doing 500 points in here, and as we start this battle, I am gonna instantly go in here, and I'm gonna be spending my points in the castle level. So now our castle base HP will be higher, and our Orb of Crisis will activate from the beginning for the Town Archers. So that's a really important and convenient thing for you to have. Of course, you can level it from the first points that you earn, but it's easier to just start it like this, so it's, well, alive, up and running from the very beginning. Now, this start of the battle will be a little bit weird because we are doing 2x game speed and everything dies too fast. So there's not really that much you can learn from this. You can't see the bottom Town Archer section because I'm blocking the screen with my webcam, but whenever I cast the upper one, I also cast the bottom one as well, so you can keep count on that if you're paying attention to the casts, which you really should. So I have cast all my summoned units once, and since we are using the immortal summons to summon only once node in the skill tree, then that means we don't have to worry about casting them. If we cast them again, they will gain a little bit of HP if they have lost HP, but well, at this point it doesn't really make any difference, and at certain point they will start dying to one hit no matter what, because we are not leveling heroes for this. For the early, well, but not early, but for the Town Archer builds, there are basically two versions of Town Archer setups. One is the pure Town Archer setup that we are using in here, and the other is Town Archer, like a hybrid build that uses both Town Archers and heroes. But I believe personally that the pure Town Archer build we are using here is easier when you are in early game, and also when you are getting into the Hellmode, practicing the Hellmode, trying to learn and see what works and what doesn't work and so on. So I would personally start with the pure Town Archer and then look into a hybrid build somewhere. Usually you can get them through your guild, for example, if you are in a relatively high level guild that has access to Hellmode builds. Okay, we have a lot of points. Usually you don't want to wait until you have this many points. Whenever you earn points, spend them. I was in the middle of explanation, so now we have a lot of points. So I'm just going to be spamming them on Town Archers for now. We'll be getting our Town Archers to level 1000 first, before we start doing anything else. That's also written in the guide, which is again available through my Discord server. You can see and find the guide in there and download it for yourself or save it for yourself and use it to your own advantage in order to reach top 300. You will be able to reach top 300 in Hellmode with this build. That is for sure. It's gonna be just about your items and your gameplay in general. Okay, I'm gonna be getting our, well, let's get them to 1000 in like exact 1000 level. And now we can start leveling our resistances. So we want to level up our fire resistance because of the flame bow. Because we are using the flame bow, Town Archers are doing fire damage, so getting the fire resistance lowered on the enemy means they take more fire damage. They make more damage from the Town Archers. That's why we use the flame bow. If we were to using the cursed knife, then the Town Archers would do elemental less damage, and we wouldn't be able to boost the damage throughout the resistances. So that's why the flame bow is superior in Hellmode compared to the cursed knife. There's a little bit lag in this run. Not sure if it's noticeable in the recording, but I do hope it won't end up us failing this run because of that lag. Let's see how this goes. However, we have a lot of points again, let's spend them. Our goal is to get these to max, which is the 50%, so we're just gonna do that first, and then we start leveling the actual crowd control resistances, which we wanna level for this run. So I'm spamming things in here right now. It's still relatively early stage, everything is dying too fast. But the basic idea is, well, two basic ideas. One is to have the haste buff up and running full time on your Town Archers. So you have the Hunter and you have the Town Archers. Both have the haste buff, and you wanna like use one, wait until it's almost over, and then use the other one, so that your haste buff will be up and running. The first thing to learn in Hellmode is to like pay attention to that. Make sure your haste buff is up and running, that your Town Archers are shooting fast. If they are shooting slow, then you are doing something wrong. Okay, let's spend point again. We have now 50 points in fire resistance, so we can start leveling our stun resistance. I'm gonna be getting this, well, I guess to 30 first, and then we will see what will happen. Then we will level the slow, freeze, and knockback as well. The second important thing for your buffs is that you will wanna cast, well, the haste buff, and then you necromancer and dark skeleton, and possibly assassin as well at the same time. So right after each other, so all of the buffs are active. This means your Town Archer will be able to do the maximum amount of damage to the enemies. So you want to have that. And also having the Assassin, no, not the Assassin, but the Dark Skeleton and the Dark Necromancer in double blocking range is pretty much mandatory for Hellmode. So you need cooldown items for both heroes. They should be lower than Pure Visage cooldown for this build, so that you can cast them more often. You will see it better once we start going to the 1x game speed in a short moment. Let's get this to 30. And let's get this to 20 for now, and then we can get 20 for knockback and 20 for freeze as well. I have one unit in the build currently using knockback, which is why I'm leveling knockback in here. You can also use this build with pure stun items, so nothing but stun on all of the units. That's, well, even easier to practice because you don't really need to worry about anything else except stun, slow, and attack speed for your crowd controllers, basically. And also, you don't need to waste points on the knockback resistance. I have some knockback lines on my Goblin as a test for this one, so we'll be leveling the knockback resistance as well a little bit. Both options, so try both options and see what works better for you. Okay, now that we have done this, I think I'm just gonna increase these to 40 and 30 for the stun and slow. The stun and slow are the most important ones in here. So stun will be the highest level, and slow should be the second highest level. But the amount of resistance points you want to spend is going to be highly individual. Again, depending what is the total score you can reach, how good items do you have, how many skill points you have, and so on. So do test runs with different things, but you can start with something like that. Like you can start with like 30, 20, 20, and then increase them to 40, 30, 30, and see how it goes. So we'll go with this for now, and then we can start leveling our town archers again. So once the resistance are at the level we want them to be, all of our points will be going to town archer damage. That's the only thing we need to level. Let's see how long we can keep on using 2x game speed, especially with this slight lag. It's a little bit scary. We are still fine. I would love to get to like 20, 30 billion before switching to 1x game speed. Playing on 1x game speed eventually is what you want to do, because you will be able to, well, cast things much more precisely and also react. Like you have a little bit more time to react to whatever happens on the screen, rather than using 2x or 3x game speed. Of course, that means your runs will take, well, slightly longer to complete. But the first part, the first pace, you will want to go with 2x or 3x. For example, on my main account, I can go for much longer on 3x game speed, on 2x game speed before I need to start switching to 1x. But since we have less crowd control, less skill points, and less cooldown skill level +1 items in this build, that means we will have to start using the 1x speed sooner. We also will be getting less score throughout this run than what I can get on my main account. But yeah, there's a lot of changes, a lot of differences between an early game, mid game, and end game account. We are now at 15 billion. We are still using a 2x game speed. We'll see how long this lasts. As you can see, I'm still not even like casting my Ice Wizard or Mechanic Ram, because things are still like, well, they are dying relatively fast. Our Orcs are also dying apparently. That's a little bit scary. But we will start casting the other units soon enough as we get to 1x game speed, and I can actually start explaining this a little bit better. And in this build, we have 7 basically crowd control units. The top 2 rows and Mechanic Ram is what we have. And from these, Zeus and Goblin are optional units, but you can try someone else. Or if you have 13 slot, you also can try someone else. The options are written in the guide that you can use in here. You can try Golem Master with the Ice Gem, the Ice Golem promotions. You can try Angels, you can try Alice, so you can have Alice and Dorothy. And also you can try Windy, for example, maybe Lightning Wizard as well for crowd control. They are all meant to be doing crowd control. Again, they don't do damage for this run, they are just here for crowd control. But there's a lot of different options you can try. Personally, I'm trying this one for, well, a couple of reasons. First of all, the items I have been able to get for my units, and also because of the fact that my Zeus, for example, is level 10,000 since he is used in my build, and I have Orb slot for my Zeus. So I figured that might help a little bit. So we are now at 25 billion. And I think we will soon start using the 1x game speed, because it's starting to lose a little bit risky. Especially if I'm explaining at the same time. I'm not terribly great at multitasking. So trying to play this, especially on an account that I am not completely familiar with, or we've only done a couple of runs, while talking to you for this recording and trying to explain things and like show what I do, it's well, I'm not great at it. So I'm scared we will end up failing this run because of that. So I'm gonna be switching to 1x game speed now at 30 billion. That's fine. That's fine. Our goal is getting, I would say, 50 billion damage if possible before we use any of our power-ups. So our pre-power-up score would be 50 billion if possible. And that means that before we start using the power-ups that are on the bottom of the screen. So the sword buff, lightning buff, hourglass buff, and so on. Okay, now I probably should start to concentrate on actually casting something. So our goal will be casting, well, Ice Wizard in here, then Hunter, Skeleton, Necromancer, instantly casting Pure Wizard, and now that we have Assassin as well, we want to cast that as well. And now that since we have double proccing units, we can cast them again right now, so that means we have a lot more damage output. I'm gonna be increasing, I believe, the resistances a little bit. I think we will be going 30 on these both. We don't have enough points yet, but let's earn some more. And also, one of the important things is that whenever your Pure Wizard comes off the cooldown, you wanna cast Pure Wizard, because if you wait and the Pure Wizard is ready, you are wasting so much potential damage and potential cast for your build, and that's going to be resulting in such lower score than you potentially could get. So the things you need to consider is keep the haste buff up and running and use Pure Wizard when he's available. Ice Wizard is nice to be cast usually just before your damage buffs, because also, again, our frozen monsters take more damage because we have the frozen heart in our treasure section, but now I did not cast it at the same time. For this next rotation, I will be casting the Ice Wizard as well. So I think we will go like this, maybe 35 on slow. It really depends. Like, this is something you need to try. Of course, eventually your goal will be getting 50 on all the resistances that you are using. But unless you can get multiple hundreds of billions of damage, it's probably not going to be worth getting them to plus 50. Well, stun is... maybe we'll get stun to plus 50 during this run. That's possible, but we'll see otherwise how this goes. Right now we are at 41 billion. We still haven't used any of our power-ups, which is nice, but we really have to see what happens. For example, now this looks a little bit scary because we have nothing to cast. We might be taking damage and losing this run. Oh, we took damage, but we did not lose there. Okay, that was nice. Yeah. So, again, multitasking, not my strengths. But we are fine. We are fine for now. And let's see. I think we will be soon casting our first power-up, which will hopefully be the Hourglass or the Altar. You also have the Altar as one of your mini power-ups as well. You can only cast it once during your run. So you really want to wait as long as you possibly can. Okay, let's spend our points. Let's cast our Pure Wizard. Please die. I don't want to die. I want to die. I want to... thank you very much. Whew, okay, that was a close one. That was a really close one. Okay, I need to concentrate a little bit more. Blah, blah, blah. Whew. So, dang. Hunter, Dark Necromancer, Skeleton, and Assassin if possible. And then everything should just die. And it really depends. Now we are getting like a pretty huge rush in here. I think I'm going to be using the Hourglass just in case. We got almost to 50 billion, so yeah, good enough. Good enough. This is an example run. We don't necessarily need to get our best score for this run. Casting the Town Archers again so that our haste buff won't run out. And here we go. And we don't really have anything on screen, so now I cast Assassin. I don't have the +1 rune for my Assassin, which is a bit unfortunate. I haven't been farming the intermediate dungeon enough. There we go. So you definitely want to get that if you can. I'm missing a lot of runes for this account. I will show them to you, all the items after this run. I think we're gonna be getting a little bit more stun resistance in here. I feel like things are getting through a bit more than I would really care for. And there we go. Okay, and again, haste buff, Dark Necromancer, Dark Skeleton, and Assassin, and everything just instantly melts. That's a huge damage output from your Town Archers when you can do that. Also, we do have the... okay, let's see, this is a little bit yikes again. Please die. Please die. Ooh, okay, this is not optimal. Holy crap, we have 4000 HP left and we can't heal. We can't heal. If we heal, then our Orb of Crisis won't be active again and we will die. So this is looking a little bit grim right now. Okay. There we go. We are still fine. We are still fine. We are still fine. And okay, let's go for the force slow, because also we need to have slow so that the enemies will advance to us a little bit slower if possible. Let's cast the altar. That should probably allow us to live. Oh, that's a lot of flying monsters right now. I would not care to have so many of you guys in here. But no matter, we got our buffs up and running, so that should be fine. And for this one, we are using the haste buff. Skeleton and Necromancer and things should be dying. Yes, they are. And again, the same thing. Haste buff, Necromancer, Skeleton, Assassin, and things should be dying. I'm really worried about our castle HP. This is not optimal. That looks scary again. I think we might just have to... I have to do this. I wanted to double proc, but I just cast my Wizard instantly. Okay, that's a lot of... Like, now I'm struggling. Now I'm struggling. Now I'm like panicking. This probably means I'm gonna be using a power-up right now. I would rather not do that, but yeah, we won't be surviving if I don't do this. So, we are fine, we are fine. Let's try to get a little bit higher score before we actually die. I don't wanna lose before 100 billion damage for sure, because I should be able to get more than 100 billion on this account. So 100 is the goal, at least, for today. Regarding the power-ups, try to use your Hourglass buffs first, if possible, and then, okay, I waited a little bit on the Pure Wizard, that wasn't optimal, but I wanted to have the Ice Wizard on double proc. There we go. So yeah, try to use the Hourglasses first if you can, and then the Lightnings, and then save the Sword buffs to be the last ones, because it's the strongest buff you can have. Okay, I used the Ground Freeze buff in here so that we could stop the ground monsters from advancing. They are getting loose a little bit more than I would care for. Our leaders are dead, as you can see on the screen right now. If you play better than what I'm playing in here, you can possibly... Okay, what the heck is going on? This lag is making the enemies not die. Okay, that's not nice. If you play better than what I'm playing in here, you can keep your leaders alive, possibly even like the entire run. That is possible, but I screwed up and they died. So, well, we are getting a little bit less crowd control now. We are getting a little bit less buff. This is not optimal, but let's see how long we will be fine doing this. 77 billion. We have used 2 Hourglasses and 1 Lightning, and this looks like another... Let's... oh boy. Okay, we survived. At least for now. At least for now. I'm lagging like crazy. This is... the recording is making me laggy. This is unfortunate. This is unfortunate. Let's hope I can record another run in near future as well, without the actual webcam recording and so on, without as much lag, and possibly with a little bit more runes and better items for my unit. So we'll see if we can do a better score then, but let's keep on going. I'm gonna zap this just so we will be safe. I don't want to risk it right now. Probably could have lived through using all the buffs, but yeah. One of the most important things regarding Hellmode is to learn what your build can do and what it can't do. So when you can get away with something and when you cannot. And I have done only like 3 runs basically on this account. I don't entirely know what I'm able to survive and what I'm not able to survive. But for now, we are getting closer to the 100 billion. We are now at 89. So if nothing really crappy happens, I think we should be able to get over the 100 billion damage. I don't think we'll be doing more of the resistances. I would love to get a bit more on these, but I guess we will just get through this run like this and see how it goes. Okay, that looks like a potential jab. I'm just gonna do this just so we are safe. We might have been able to survive without, possibly not, because we have so little HP. That's the scary thing about... Okay, this is not looking optimal. Scary thing about using Crisis Orb for pure down as a build is that you have... Well, you can't take hits. That is the scary thing. You can't take hits, because if you take hits, then you die. We were able to get away with taking 2 hits in early game, because early game the enemy damage is still quite low, but the later you go, the less that will be a thing. I'm gonna use a sword now. So first sword just before 100 billion damage, so that we don't die. So now that we are on sword, we are dealing tremendous amount of damage. We basically won't be dying for this run. If you have the golden horn purchased for your waving, then whenever you activate your sword, you can also activate the golden horn for a while, so the enemies will come a little bit faster and you will be able to take care of a little bit more of them. Just remember to turn it off before the sword buff ends, so that you don't run into trouble because of the too fast spawn speed of the enemies. And let's see if we can survive without using the next sword right after this one. Okay, this is still fine, but I really don't want to screw this up right now, so I think I'm just gonna do it. Screw it! We are getting more than enough red crystals with this score anyway, and we can always practice more and get a better score afterwards if we want. Personally, I really don't enjoy Hellmode all that much, and I would rather just do 1 run per week. So like, try to get a 1 decent run in per week, rather than do 10 different runs and try to learn, get like min-max a little bit better score. Personally, that's just me. That's just me. But we'll see. Okay, our sword buff ran out. There wasn't really that many enemies to gain the debuffs. Okay, that looks scary. I'm just gonna spam the last sword right there. If you can, try to, you know, delay the usage of swords in between. If you can, like, play better than I do. Don't do the same mistakes I'm doing it here. You probably won't even know what the mistakes are though, so it's a little bit hard to explain. You just have to like do enough runs to get the feeling of what you can do and what you cannot do. But the most important thing is, well, casting your buffs, as I have explained throughout the run, and also casting your, well, crowd control buffs as well. So we have Goblin, we have Necram, and we have Ice Wizard. So try to, you know, alter between casting some of those, so that you have something available when bad things happen. So for example, right now, okay, this looks really bad. This looks extremely bad. I'm gonna freeze the ground just in case. We might be able to... Okay, we might be able to survive that. There we go, there we go, there we go. And Assassin, there we go. Okay, we killed those. That's nice. Can we survive longer though? That is a thing that remains to be seen. We are getting close to the end of this run. It hasn't been the best run, but I'm decently satisfied. That was the wrong order, but okay, that will work. This will get this account enough Red Crystals, and I can buy 10 hours of time out of battle probably with Red Crystals during the next reset. So right now I have, let's see, I have 43. So yeah, for sure I will be getting enough Red Crystals. We got 128 billion damage with this Town Archer Hellmode build. We could have gotten a bit more. I think we should be able to get to 140, 150 if I played a little bit better. But it's good enough. And also, as I get better items, better runes, and more skill points, it will get a little bit better. So I hope this like gives you the idea of how you use Town Archer Hellmode. It's pretty similar to previous Town Archer Hellmode builds if you have seen some on my account, with slight differences in heroes in here. For example, Goblin is in here, and slow promotion for Zeus and so on. If I had the 13 slot, I would probably use Golem Master in here with the Ice Gems promotion, so it would help a little bit with crowd control, also dealing more damage to frozen monsters as well throughout that. Or maybe Alice, or maybe Angels. Those would be my picks for the 13 slot if I had had that, but this is a free black gun, so I don't have. So all of the damage is done by Town Archers, 99%, and that's it. So it's really, Town Archers Hellmode build is really simple. And now finally, before wrapping up the video, I promised to show the items, so let's go through them. We already saw the Town Archer items, but here they are again, instead someone of you missed that. 1 crit chance line, 1 damage line, 1 crit damage, and 1 fire damage line. I would like to have 3 critical damage and 1 critical chance, I guess. Fire damage is also great, but yeah. Attack speed runes are great. And the Orb of Crisis, 80%. If I could get this to over 90%, I would, well, instantly be able to deal more damage. I would be able to get away from certain situations that currently kill me. So, rerolling that orb is gonna be my top 1 priority right now regarding this build. In terms of the items, we are using the Ice promotion for the Flying Orcs. So here we go. And I'm using stun, attack speed, plus 1 summoned unit in here with 1 attack speed rune. It would deserve another one, so there's room for improvement in here. And also I have double stun, attack speed in here, and also 1 attack speed rune. The important things in here is you want to have 3 or if possible 4 lines of stun. And, well, plus 1 summon unit is strong because it gives you plus 1 summon, plus 1 orc for both of the abilities, so that's 2 more orcs. And also you want to have slow on your flying orcs. Since we are using the ice promotion, we have the chance to slow monsters through that, but if you are using the fire promotion for faster attack speed, then you need to have slow line in your items. I don't have, so that's why we're using the ice promotion here. And the Orb facility, so we get more attack speed, more crowd control against the flying monsters. The flying monsters are the scary ones, as you probably see through the run. Dorothy, stun items, stun, slow, attack speed, stun, plus 1 summoned unit, cooldown. This could be on flying orcs as well, basically, although the poison damage is a useless line. Could use attack speed rune in there as well. For the Zeus, we are using the right side promotion, because the right side promotion has the slow target minus 200% for 2 seconds slow buff, and this is a very strong crowd control buff, especially if you don't have too many great items yet or too many slow items yet. That's why I'm using Zeus in here. You could use some other hero as well again instead of this. I'm not using Zeus in my end game build, but for this early game one I am. So we have double stun in here. Area skill damage is useless, and double stun in here. Damage line is useless. So we just have 4 stun lines. Attack speed would be helping us a little bit more for the slows, and also the lightning orbs gives me more attack speed for Zeus. So again, a little bit more stuns and slows apply to the enemies, but attack speed runes are missing from there. And then Goblin. Goblin is the only unit in the build currently using knockback items. You can also try using stun items on Goblin and use knockback items on Dorothy, for example, if you want to have a knockbacker. Or you can just go with full stun as well if you want to. So knockback line, the 2 attack speed lines in here, stun, knockback, and slow in here. Maybe I would want to have a 3rd knockback line. I will have to see. I haven't really done much testing with the knockback Goblin yet. That was the 2nd time I tried it on this account right now. And Slingers, really important crowd control unit. The Slingers PA node, especially also in skill tree, is really important. So in here we have stun and slow. Optimal would be double stun and slow, or attack speed in here would help, and double stun here with the flat damage, which is again useless. So again, better items in the future might help me get a little bit better score, and also attack speed runes again missing from here. I'm using the physical promotion for Slingers, so that's why I'm using the physical orb to give them 20% attack speed, makes them attack a little bit faster. So the middle promotion in here is going to be the physical one that you want to use. Then we have Ice Wizard. Ice Wizard is in double blocking range, so lower than Pure Wizard's cooldown. Just some attack speed, cooldown, and in here double cooldown. So just cooldown lines and then attack speed lines and the runes. So again, missing the attack speed runes in here. That will also help me a little bit. Dark Skeleton, also in double blocking range. You want to keep these lower than Pure Wizard if possible. So just cooldown in here, 1 cooldown in here. That's currently enough for this. I could level this because of the knockback line. It would probably help me maybe slightly, but that's it for now. Eventually, skill duration runes for Dark Skeleton will be a good buff, and also for the Dark Necromancer as well. They both want skill duration runes for Hellmode, but I need to farm the intermediate dungeon for that. Dark Hunter in here is also in double blocking range. It also just helped me, well, my casting rotations will be better in this case. So all of these are in double proccing range, except the Dark Assassin is not, but Dark Assassin is just having, well, cooldown item in here. The things you want is, well, cooldown, attack speed, stun and slow. Can also have so a little bit crowd control as well. The Sand Orb would be nice in here. I haven't purchased that one as well, so that's also missing. And as you see, I don't have the Slash rune in here, so that will also boost the Dark Assassin and my build in general. And well, this item for the Dark Assassin is actually useless. It's just in here so that I can use the cooldown skill level +1 line somewhere, because also having as many of these in your build as possible will help you get the better score. Eventually I want to replace this with a better item, of course, but that's just me getting started with Hellmode on this account. Then Dark Necromancer, same items as for waving, double proccing, Dark Necromancer, and like with Dark Skeleton, you eventually want skill duration for Dark Necromancer as well. But for now, I don't have it on either. Because that means the buffs will be up a little bit longer, and potentially you can clear a bit more monsters with that. And that can be a tremendous help for your score, especially if you are trying to reach a bit higher and higher scores. It can be a huge, huge help. And for Pure Wizard, also the same thing. I have the same items as in my Way build, so double cooldown items on both slots in here. The final hero, Mechanic Ram, is having double stun on the sword. Again, missing attack speed runes. All of your crowd control units basically want attack speed runes, so you're gonna be having, like, wanting to farm a lot of attack speed runes for your build. And also your town archers also want attack speed runes as well. And in here I have stun, slow, and attack speed. You can double stun and slow for the sword, or the accessory would be really, really great, but this will work for now. Eventually maybe I want to get a 4th stun line for Mechanic Ram as well, and some attack speed runes. They really do help. I really, really need to farm. I probably said that 1,000 times already. The leaders. One of the reasons I have, again, is that I just have the cooldown skill level +1 line in here. So again, this item otherwise is completely useless for the Town Archer Hellmode. I just get the cooldown skill level +1 line in here. And then I have stun, attack speed, slow in here for a little bit more crowd control through Solar. But mainly Solar is here to give you +15% crit chance for your Town Archers. Because you're using the Flame Bow, they will get a +15% crit chance from this. That's why you use Solar. And Zero is here, well, for the 10% additional damage to slowed monsters, and also slowing monsters with his skill a little bit. In here I just have double attack speed, archer speed skill level rune in here, and again in here a cooldown skill level +1 line. This item otherwise is again completely useless in terms of Town Archer Hellmode, but for now it's just here so that I can get the cooldown skill level +1 line. So in total I have 4 CD lines for this build. The towers are not using any items because I don't have the tower item slots activated yet in the skill tree. But that's what it currently looks like, so a lot more runes to be farmed, slightly better items here and there to be gained, and a couple of more skill points, and I should be able to increase the score. But I hope this helps you trying to learn Hellmode, get into Hellmode. Again, if you are on a lower level, you have less skill points, you don't have as many items, you can still use the same build. Just try and practice, get into this, get into the Hellmode, do a couple of runs, see what works, figure out why you die and so on, and where you could do better. Because practice is the most important thing in your Hellmode runs. That's just this. It's even if you have the best items, if you don't practice, you won't be able to pull out your full potential. I have faith in you. You can get into top 300 if you keep on practicing. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one, and I will post an update about CloudNatcher's account as soon as there's something worthwhile again happening. Thank you, and let me know what you thought about this video in the comment section. See you in there.